This is Ken Smith reminding you it happened today, July 1st, but the year was 1517, and it was the first burning of Protestants at the stake. It occurred in the Netherlands. It was on this day, 1836, that U.S. President Andrew Jackson announces a gift by James Smithson of 100,000 gold sovereigns to start the Smithsonian Institution in Washington. It was on this day, 1847, that the first U.S. postage stamps go on sale. It was a 5-cent Benjamin Franklin stamp and a 10-cent George Washington stamp. It was on this day, 1861, that the first public schoolhouse opens in San Francisco. It was on this day, 1862, that Congress outlaws polygamy. It was on this day, 1874, the first zoo opens in the U.S. It was in Philadelphia. It was on this day, 1898, Teddy Roosevelt and his Rough Riders charge up San Juan Hill in Cuba. It was on this day, 1899, that the Gideon Society establishes the first placement of Bibles in hotels. It was on this day, 1916, that the Battle of Somme, the British Army suffers its worst day of losses. 19,240 men died. World War I. It was on this day, 1917, race riots in East St. Louis. Upwards of 200 were reported to be killed. It was on this day, 1932, that New York Governor Franklin Delano Roosevelt is nominated for president at the Democratic Convention in Chicago. It was on this day, 1934, that the first X-ray photo is made of the entire body. It occurred in Rochester, New York. It was on this day, 1960, that Fidel Castro took control, nationalized the gas companies of Esso, Shell, and Texaco in Cuba. It was on this day, just a year ago, 2019, that Japan resumes commercial whaling after a break of more than 30 years. But that was yesterday, July 1st. This is July 1st, 2020. Fringe activists set up a guillotine in front of Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos' home in Washington, D.C., where they reportedly demanded that Amazon be abolished. With a bullhorn, one of the demonstrators in front of Bezos' home said, "Amazon is still exploitation. And when we become threatened, we have no voice, and that's when the knives come out." The number of mortgage forbearance reports here in the United States, 8.8% of all active mortgages currently are in forbearance. New York City's homicide rate has hit a 5-year high as the amount of people shot has jumped by 42% compared to this time last year. Nike reported an unexpected quarterly loss of 38% in sales decline from this time a year ago. The employment population ratio, the number of employed people as a percentage of the U.S. adult population, 47% of Americans are jobless. In a move that would have been unheard of even a year ago, in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, Cirque du Soleil, the preeminent production company for more than 20 years, and currently with 6 productions on the Las Vegas Strip, has filed for bankruptcy protection and announced the termination of 3,500 employees. It was reported that the National Basketball Association, the NBA, that players will be able to include social justice messages on the backs of their jerseys when the basketball season begins at the courts in Disney Orlando. According to ESPN's, the league plans to paint Black Lives Matter on both sides on all 3 of the courts they will be using in Disney's Wide World of Sports complex. And so this is a day of good news, bad news, challenging news, confusing news. But behind it all is the good news that this is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. This is Ken Smith reminding you it happened today, July 1st, 2020.